Hey everybody, welcome back to Inside the Gaming. It's cold, it starts very spooky in here, and if you're not already spooked, you will be this April when Resident Evil 3 Remake smashes onto shelves and makes every little gamer boy and gamer girl pee and or poo their pants out of both excitement and fear.
Last year, the world got the long-awaited RE2 remake, and that's more than exceeded fans' expectations, myself included. It's received a banger of a Metacritic score of 91, but can Capcom catch lightning in a bottle? Twice?
Well, it's no secret that Capcom had some growing pains with the Resident Evil series not very long ago. After the original trilogy and spin-offs, they started to take some serious risks once Resident Evil 4 was released in 2005. To many fans' shock, the fixed camera angles were replaced with a third-person perspective, and aside from that, the overall gameplay changed up significantly, bringing in a more fast-paced experience with quick-time events sprinkled throughout.
4 years later, Resident Evil 5 tried to ride the coattails of RE4's popularity by committing to the third-person back-flipping suplexing style, which also got rid of the fixed camera angles we all know so well. Insert Chris punching boulder joke here. It never gets old.
It really doesn't.
Yeah, I like RE5 a lot though.
Yeah, me too.
I'm a huge fan of that game. But the next one, not so much.
RE6, you know, that's it's got a special place in my heart.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, so 3 years after that, RE6 proved that Capcom was going balls deep into the action-heavy, big-budget blockbuster Michael Bay directed, starring Dwayne the Boulder Johnson side of things. RE6 obviously was non-stop movement and action with very few moments to actually build suspense like its predecessors.
Yeah, and for some, this marked the end of everyone's favorite survival horror genre and the overall downfall of Capcom. Regardless of Resident Evil 6's amazing gameplay, the content that gives you that bang for your buck, that great replayability and fun co-op, fans wanted horror, which wasn't unfortunately present in Capcom's newer titles.
Yeah, but these days, Capcom is making a resurgence, a comeback, a renaissance, if you will, with a recent interest in banking on nostalgia.
Rewind to the year 2002. The first entry in the Resident Evil series received a remake on the Nintendo GameCube. It was easily one of the best looking games at the time and improved on what was already created by Capcom. They didn't need to reinvent the wheel, just give it a good little spit shine.
Some elbow grease. Just, you know, make it look pretty. Not only did they slap a new coat of paint on it, they added a new side story in the form of a character known as Lisa Trevor.
It's a girl's name and a boy's name. You got two first names.
Yeah, this game was a masterpiece, and fans were left speculating that maybe RE2 would be next in line.
Yeah, well, that didn't happen until 2019. God.
Such a long wait.
Yeah, RE2's remake was fantastic. It got almost the same treatment as RE1, but instead of resurrecting all the elements of the original RE2, some things were changed or moved around. Most notably, it retconned the spiders, the crows, got rid of the zapping system, made the A and B scenarios almost identical, and made Mr. X follow you throughout the RPD in both playthroughs. A tall drink of water. He's hot.
Yeah.
Mr. X is hot.
Package
He's yoked.
swinging around your
He's
face.
got that butt chin.
I would like to see, what's that famous porn star, Johnny Sins? I would like to see him play Mr. X in like a live action RE2 remake porn. But that didn't matter too much because the game delivered on many other levels and was exactly what RE fans had been begging for years.
Not even a full year later, some leaked cover art surfaced for a potential Resident Evil 3 remake that was happening sometime soon, which would later be confirmed at PlayStation State of Play on December 10th, 2019.
Yeah, and this caught everyone by surprise because we had all just experienced the urine sprayer of a game, RE2, which was just released not even a full year prior to the reveal.
Resident Evil 3 takes place before, during, and after the events of Resident Evil 2. You play as Jill Valentine, one of the protagonists from the original Resident Evil, best known as the Master of Unlocking, but also best known as a sandwich.
Many wondered what would be returning to the Resident Evil 3 remake since a few iconic enemies were cut from RE2. And well, so far the zombies have been confirmed, obviously, and the hunters, which are these terrifying BOW lizard things, and also the Gravedigger, which is just a giant worm. It's very phallic. It literally just looks like a big wiener coming out of the ground.
Yeah, the most important character to be making a return is, of course, Nemesis, who is the main antagonist and Jill's persistent pursuer throughout the length of the game, constantly following you with all his tentacles at attention. Ugh.
Yeah, Nemesis is like a clingy ex-boyfriend who just wants a piece of that Jill sandwich, if you know what I'm saying.
I'll take extra mayo. Ew, why did I say that? I, for one, have no doubt that Capcom will make this an amazing experience, but some people are a bit worried about Resident Evil 3 being too action-oriented, which will lead Capcom to getting back into their, Michael Bay bullshit, all that Bay shit
Reddit user AhabSnake85 made a post on the Resident Evil subreddit saying, I have concerns that they're going this route since the producer thinks it's more action when compared to RE2, and that's the way they're going with the remake, which would be a shame if it feels like RE5 and not much horror. Ease your worries, AhabSnake85, because that is what God intended, and by God, I mean Capcom, because the original RE3 was more action-oriented than RE2, since obviously the main point of the game is to escape the hell that is Raccoon City by running from a giant hentai monster carrying a bazooka.
Well said.
Thanks.
Yeah, Resident Evil 2 was like a build-up, a nice little zombified wiener tease, if you will. Resident Evil 3 was like, I don't know, losing your virginity at Six Flags.
Yeah, well said.
Thanks.
This will probably be another case of hate it before you play it, very similar to when people were up in arms about Leon and Claire's new designs in RE2 Remake, until they played it and realized how much more practical the new outfits were.
Yeah, same can be said about the new designs for Jill and Carlos. Jill is no longer running around the city in a skirt and a tube top like a scantily clad Bratz doll. Now she's more prepared to face the undead. I will say though that the tank top and jean combo is becoming a very cliche female protagonist trope.
LauraCroft.png.
More like Laura Crop Top. Up top. Speaking of
Great.
character changes, Carlos is getting a bit of an overhaul too. Overhaul as in more hair, but will he be as creepy as the original?
I have to ask you something.
I know. You want to ask me out? All the foxy ladies love my accent. It drives them crazy.
What?
I hope so.
Yeah, if I don't feel like I might be roofied and awoken by the smell of hairspray and cheap cologne, then damn it, I don't want the game.
Yeah, me neither. What the fuck? You know, I will say though, they included Carlos's classic skin as a pre-order bonus. Keep in mind, Carlos is like 21 in Resident Evil 3, but the classic skin you get, he looks like he's like 50. Like he looks like he'd be like slamming back some Pabst Blue Ribbon and watching a football game on a, what day does football air?
Sports.
Carlos's story will be more important than the original, playing in tandem to Jill's. You'll be able to experience why the UBCS was sent to Raccoon City and get more details on Carlos's team, which is kind of cool.
You're right, Amir. That is kind of cool. In an interview from PlayStation Magazine UK with Capcom producer Peter Fabiano, Peter shed some light on a few changes that we'll see compared to the original. When asked if multiple endings would make a return, he said no, because Capcom has decided to structure the game as a single set narrative.
But that's not a huge deal since they didn't really have a big impact on the overall narrative, except for who was at the end when they got rescued.
Yeah, also Mercenaries mode will not be returning since the game is now bundled separately with Resident Evil Resistance, the 4v1 asymmetrical multiplayer experience set in, where else? Raccoon City.
But of course, these confirmations should be taken with a grain of sugar. I know that's a weird sentence, you know, confirmation, but taking it with pretty much when Peter was asked about Resistance being canon, Fabiano said, just consider my comments in the article. I don't know what that means, but it could be an issue with translation with PlayStation Magazine UK.
Did you intentionally say grain of sugar and not salt?
Because it's a little bit sweeter.
Okay, cool. Another change that's expected to be made is live selection not making a return. This was a mechanic in the original game that had you thinking on your feet and making a choice between catching Nemesis fade or running away.
Yeah, but the outcome would typically lead to either downing Nemesis for a sweet upgrade or some sweet ammo, or running away to avoid pissing away your resources.
Yeah, hopefully this can just be done in real time in the remake. That could make for some intense moments. So far, the remake is looking really good. Based off the screenshots that Capcom's shown so far, it looks like it's going to be pretty faithful to the original. Raccoon City was filled with color in the original, and they've definitely captured that here.
Totally, it's definitely got that same aesthetic that make my pee hard. It seems like Capcom is on an upswing. They've more than delivered with the RE2 remake, Monster Hunter World, which became Capcom's best-selling game, and more recently, Devil May Cry 5, which received critical acclaim as well.
Yeah, because that game slaps.
Yeah, it's a bang.
Capcom went from being just a game developer to the game developer who is constantly listening to their fans and giving you, the player, and Amir, what you, the player, and Amir want. It's crazy how much has changed in the last 8 years. Capcom's like that Bugs Bunny meme that every girl who got pregnant in high school way too early posts on Facebook. You know, the one with Bugs in a tuxedo holding a musket saying, it's time to go back to the old me. Sorry, I'm so sorry for what I've done. Forgive me. Nice hat, liberals.
And Capcom has definitely gone back to the old them. It'll be nice to see what they do with Resident Evil 8, which, if the leaks are to be believed, looks like we're gonna be waiting a while for. Twitter user Aesthetic Gamer, or Dusk Golem on Reset Era forums, recently made a tweet describing Resident Evil 8 as being rebooted and years away from release.
He said there was a version of Resident Evil 8 that was in development since late 2016, though it went on pause during 2017 due to needing more hands-on for Resident Evil 7's DLC and Resident Evil 2, which was behind schedule at the time. Still, there was a Resident Evil 8 version that was in the works for a few years.
Aesthetic Gamer Gamer has gotten stuff scarily correct before, most recently with RE3 hitting the nail on the head with RE3 being Resistance's single-player component.
Could this be Capcom's way of saying, look guys, we know what you want from us now, we'll just throw this in the trash and go with what works? Are they holding themselves to a higher standard? I don't know.
That very well could be the case. It definitely seems like the 20s are going to be Capcom's decade. It's nice to see a developer rise from the ashes like a yoked phoenix. I'm imagining Chris Redfield's head on a phoenix now, just coming up from the ashes, butt-ass naked.
Yeah, but we shall see. Only 2.5 months left until Resident Evil 3 Remake hits, and I hope I don't die in a freak car accident or a meteor strike, or more likely, a shark attack.
Oh, hey, you wanna go to the beach this weekend?
Say less, let's go.
Cool.
Big updates. There was also a trailer for Doom Eternal that dropped last Tuesday, but before we talk about that, let's talk about these updates.
Ooh, yeah, the updates only apply to their 25th anniversary release. So if you're still playing on DOS, it might be time to, upgrade, invest in a new PC. Why is Bethesda still bothering to update a game that's almost 30 years old?